Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Jillesque Rhyne. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves? Maybe Jillesque with you first, and
Yeah. So I go by the name Jillesque. I'm a part of a grassroots label out of LA called Condina Records. We're a collective of artists that help each other. Basically, we put out music, but we all put in a certain amount of money based on the Condina or Tanda system to stay independent and be able to get each artist their due. So you help support. We all fold J cards. We run shows. We learn a lot about the process of like throwing shows and making music through this community. And I'm very honored to be part of it. And it's really cool to see how that's branched out into being in the beat community and how you sustain yourself as a musician. I think it's really important. But yeah, that's where I come from and how I started out. But
cool, awesome. Kevin, Rhyne.
So my artist name is Rhyne. My first name is Kevin.
Yeah.
And I make a lot of beats.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Sweet. Where are both of you from originally?
I'm originally from the Atlanta area.
Okay.
About 20 or 30 minutes out of Atlanta. Moved here about 3 years ago.
Got it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I've been in LA for 2 years, but I grew up in the San Diego area, and I'm from Temecula, and then I came up here.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy to see the difference between coming from like another place and you come out here and you're making music and you find like a cool support system.
Oh yeah.
That you don't find in your hometown. So
Yeah. So
I haven't been here that long, but
it's nice. For people who are listening, we're at the Beat Cinema 10-year anniversary party. So what's your guys' affiliation with Beat Cinema? Tell us a little bit about that relationship, how you guys got introduced.
I feel like you've been
Both
with
of you
Beat
played,
Cinema
right?
for a while.
Yeah.
Like you were doing podcasts with Beat Cinema, I think, like earlier. How long have you been with Beat Cinema then?
Well, not officially part of Beat Cinema, but
like with them. Yeah, it's all family, dude.
Yeah.
It's all family.
Yeah.
I think like a few months after I moved here, I was going to Low End Theory a lot, and someone at work was just like, "Yo, Beat Cinema is like a baby version of Low End Theory."
Little brother.
Yeah, little brother. We're like, at Low End Theory, I feel like the time had passed where you can just show up with like a beat tape and be like, "Yo, can I play?" And Beat Cinema has like kept that going. I feel like where like I just made friends with these dudes, and they put me on. So
yeah. And and what about yourself?
Oh yeah. So for Beat Cinema, that's actually a lot of the way that people on our label sort of like met and went out. That was like my first experience with Los Angeles. I know they've been doing shows for 10 years in like Pomona and the IE, and then have
Riverside.
reached this point. But like, I mean, when I was able to come out to LA, like Low End was ending, and this was one of those things that kept that going, and I'm like so happy to be a part of it because I've been able to find like really cool people. Every time I go to a Beat Cinema event, it's always very community based. You meet a lot of really great musicians, really cool people that are interested in the same thing and are just as supportive as you want to be of the things that you like.
Yeah.
So, and that's another reason why, Condina like started, because some people in the label would just see each other at Beat Cinema shows and then just be like, oh, okay, cool. We get online and we meet other people but I think the strong sense of community is based on that nucleus of Beat Cinema shows that have been happening for 10 years, so communities form around it and they gravitate back toward it. So we're all just, just kind of trying to keep that going.
Right.
But really happy to be doing that. And we were in the beat battle too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about the beat battle.
Yeah.
So I actually don't know much about it at all. I think it's like what I've heard. So what I know is that it's a 3-hour. You start. Are you in the same location when you start, and then at the end you all play? Like, how does it work? Walk us through that.
So it starts out every year where Beat Cinema asks like people to enter their beats, and so this year is like 130 beats or submissions that got sent in.
Yeah. Like
this is once a year?
Almost 150. Yeah, they've been doing it once a year ever since they started.
Wow. Okay.
So,
And so at the actual event, it's like 1v1, v1, v1, v1. So like 5 people are up at a time.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Playing one beat.
Yeah.
You play
my
one
God.
beat and you go on a row and they're like, all right, 2 minutes,
Yeah.
2 minutes, 2 minutes. And then after
so much
that, you're
pressure.
you're in a group and then you get chunked off and then you find out later if you make the next group and then there's the top 3 at the last round. But
Yeah.
Wow.
And the winner gets like a bunch of shit.
Okay. Okay.
It's
And what I've been
insane.
told is both
came
of
in
you.
third. The
Yeah.
shit was
Both of
dope.
you came in. Came
that
in
was,
hot.
Killed
that was
it.
insane. That was the first time I've ever like experienced anything like that. It was the most nerve-wracking thing.
Yeah.
It's like you play a set, you play your set, but you're playing one track and then you're giving it your all, and you don't even know what's happening with like other artists. You come and you see everyone, like people have the push. They have one dude, Theo Hux. He brought a VHS.
Damn.
Yeah,
A
he
what?
brought a VHS and he had all his songs on a tape, and he played the VHS
That's crazy.
and was like affecting it through a 303.
And you're like,
Or
motherfucker.
Yeah,
That guy's
he made
gonna
it to
win,
he made it
dude.
to the third round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top
Yeah,
5.
top 5 or yeah, the second round, and it was insane. Like everyone has such different ways of doing stuff, and then when you get there, you get kind of psyched out because you're like, whoa, like
Yeah.
this is amazing, and then you
So
have
much
one
talent,
beat, you have one.
So do you
One
start?
opportunity.
So everyone starts at the same, with nothing, and then do you get like a sample pack? Are there certain
Mm. No.
that's it,
constraints?
you
Is
just go
anything?
You come in with your beats.
You come in with your
Yeah.
beat.
Oh, you're already
You find
done.
out you're
Yeah.
in. You find out you're in maybe like 2 or 3 months before, like after you submit, and then you have, I guess, that amount of time to like just pick what song is best for like each round.
Yeah.
Right? But
Whoa.
it's
So you can
insane.
submit multiple tracks?
No,
Okay.
you submit a track when you like try to get into the competition, but once the competition is set, you only get 2 minutes per artist, and you just play whatever you can fit in that 2 minutes, or whatever track you
Wow.
prepared, or whatever it is.
That's crazy. It's like March Madness for
nerve-wracking.
music or something.
Yeah.
That's
But
crazy.
you meet so many cool people. Like I
It's a
I
great
actually
event.
got the push because of you through that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. When I saw
Right
you
on.
using the push, I was like, yo, like this
Yeah.
is tight.
Love this
Sick. And so how long ago was that? Take us back to.
Was that in
February.
March?
February.
February?
Yeah.
Okay.
In February, like mid-February.
What? So like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so that's when both of you sort of like
Yeah.
Made
That's
your
when we
name
started,
and your
we
entrance.
went and started
Yeah,
talking to
officially
each
met.
other because
Yeah.
you see other artists and you see their process and you really want to know because you're
Right.
like, dude, like,
what's your workflow like?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. So cool. So it's like an in-person. Everyone's there. There's like 150 minimum.
Well, there's entrance, and then you have like top 20 out of that.
Yeah.
Oh, and
So-
that's who gets invited
yeah, that's
to
who gets
the-
invited, and then the top 20, and then you have, I think 10 other
Uh-huh.
people that are there in case other people don't show up. So they have like other people to
Wow.
stand in.
How
in
did
case.
you all get? Like, was it an email that you received?
So yeah.
Yeah.
Submission form.
Uh-huh.
Submission form on the
with the
Beats and
invite,
Rhymes.
like to the
Oh,
invitation.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
It's,
just
it's
like-
an email. It's a
Yeah.
great email to get.
It's-
I was like, hell yeah.
What
It was
did,
so
do you
cool.
remember what it said and how
It's
did
just
you react?
congratulations, like you made, and
Made
it
it.
was so cool is because I saw, I didn't know I had it until I went on Instagram and I saw my friends and I was so happy to see them in the beat battle. I was like, yo, you made the beat battle?
Right.
And then I was like, oh, I'm submitted. I'm gonna check. And then I found out I got it and I was
Wow.
so,
Yeah. I was
it's
stoked.
such a good moment because you're happy for other people. Like it's all friends, it's all family.
Yeah.
And then you find out you're a part of that too and it's like,
Right. That's
it's
sick.
awesome.
It's a good time.
feeling.
It's a good
Wow.
feeling.
Okay, cool. So that was 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And then that's when you all met. I'm sure you met tons of other really dope producers. And then yeah, like what was sort of the had you all played Beat Cinema before that? Or was that sort of like your introduction into the Beat Cinema world and network, and then eventually within a few months you were playing there? Because I've seen both of you actually play at Out of 503 and kill it. So I'm curious, like how did that? So that was that sort of the starting point.
I've been.
And by
I've
the
been
way, if
playing.
you can both
Yeah.
kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
lean
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit.
I played Beat Cinema, I think, a couple times before the beat battle, so I already
Okay.
know the homies.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, through Condina Records, we would do shows together and like talk with them, and we would have other artists from the collective go in and play.
Yeah.
And when it was at Tokyo Beat, I played one time there before,
peace.
and then they moved. Yeah, they
Missed
moved.
that
But after the beat battle, I saw more opportunity with like playing shows with them,
Yeah.
and being more active in the community.
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah,
But
that
that was a good catalyst to feeling supported and then being more confident in going
Right.
forward and making music and playing music.
yeah, that must have been a huge, not that that's what you're after. But it is validating to have a community of your peers who you respect, give you that respect and that stamp, and show you that. And it's earned, right? It's not based on anything other than your work.
Exactly.
And yeah, so did anything shift for you guys at all, like mentally? Did the work change after that?
I was stoked to make the top 5. I was like, I was validating for me, for sure.
Yeah.
It was a great time.
Like every round felt like, oh my God, like I'm happy to just be here today.
It.
Like I don't know.
Right.
But I think it has changed my workflow, because after that I saw more equipment that other people used, and I was very curious about what was going on, because you know, you have people like that come in with like, you know, your SP, but everybody does something so different, and you go in and then you change your workflow just based off of just interacting with more people too.
Yeah.
And
little things
learning.
you pick up.
You pick up other stuff. And,
right.
Yeah,
okay. Got it. And so to zoom out just a bit to both of you, so like how did you all start making music in the first place? Like, was there a song or an artist that was like the pivotal, life-defining moment? And when was that, you know?
I've been making music. I've always been like super into music. My family's always been super into music. So I've always like known my way around a DAW. But Flying Lotus did it for me.
Okay.
Like
that was the.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard Until the Quiet Comes, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
I was like, dude.
Mind blown.
You know?
Yeah.
And so that's how I got into beat music and like learned about Los Angeles and like the scene. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm the youngest of 5 kids in my family, and they're all there's a big generational divide between a lot of us. Yeah. And the actual thing for me was like Ninth Wonder, Little Brother. My siblings had like CDs that they had like amassed over the course of just like growing up, and you know, they get iPods and other stuff, and then I would just get like their CDs and listen to that, like tapes and mixes that they would have, and I just like we blown away. And specifically like Ninth Wonder is like a huge influence. Wow. Little Brother, like Fonte, and then that kind of branched out because you look at those artists and they've worked with so many other people, so you have like kind of this like consolidation of where you can see,
you got the map.
Know, you discover more music through that circle, and it just, you know, Fonte, like the Roots, and you know, you have Questlove, and you just branch out even more from there.
100%.
And with gear too, I think like when you started, did you start out with a push or did you?
No. What did I started out with the MPD 26.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Back in high school.
Yeah.
Got it.
I had 2 SPs.
Damn,
2 SP
really?
404s. I was just resampling back and forth, and I had one in a record player, and like I didn't know anything about a DAW until like last year. And
so you started super analog.
Yeah. So like a lot of the first, because I never had the tools to make beats. Like, like growing up, I would just like play guitar, whatever instrument was around, but I never like actually messed with making beats, even though I always wanted to do it. I just never.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, got it. And so let's talk a little bit about your guys' sort of status. So do you consider yourself more independent? You know, she's obviously very tied to, you know, like Condina Records, his family, and she's kind of got, you know, that structure. What about yourself? And so I feel like, from what I've heard at least, record, you got Condina Records, and it's a little bit more of an independent kind of setup for you. So I think that would be kind of interesting to explore, kind of like how those journeys look different, and maybe your outlook on the future. So can you talk to us a little bit about that? And
I guess as an independent artist, my workflow is like make music and post it and see what people think. Honestly, like it's as simple as that for me. Yeah. Sweet.
And do you feel like any attraction or pull or draw or a need for something like a record label, or, you know what I mean, like, or
I think it helps on like a promotional side for sure. Like as an independent artist, like you really don't have much resource other than like trying to hype up an Instagram post or like share beats with your friends and play shows. So a label would be very helpful.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you're very open to it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Got it. And then talk to us a little bit about Condina Records. So you guys have a really interesting model.
Yeah. It's a business model based on a form of economics that people of color use. It's basically translated into a lottery. So so in our label there's I think 14 people, and we all contribute different skills and different tools that we could use to help each other. So we have a couple people that have a dubber that can dub tapes, and then we have people who like have access to print stuff that we can make. Designer people, they're all producers, but we all try to dip our hands in other things to help each other bring a tape together. Essentially we're helping each other make a tape, and then provide a way for us to sustain ourselves based on supporting each other, and then eventually getting that back. So you have a cycle. Let's say you have 12 people, and there's 12 months in a calendar year. You schedule, okay, everyone does a release a month. So we all put in $8 to one artist. We give them that money. It's like, you can buy tapes. You can get the artwork that you need to get done. This is like our budget. We all give this amount of money, and they get tapes.
And when you say tapes, clarify.
Yeah, like cassette tapes.
What?
Yeah, it's like old tape
popping
tape
off.
culture.
It's popping off.
Yeah, that's what it is. We're a tape label. Like, as much as you want to say record, it's not records, it's tapes. So it's just that whole like
how do people listen?
Tape player. But we also have band like we're on platforms.
Right.
So that's I feel like having that physical piece of music, even if you don't have a tape player, is still good, because you want to support that artist in some way, because you get, when you're on the internet, you don't actually get that up front, Wow. It's just another way to support your like people that are making music, because it's like, as an independent artist, it's really hard to stay independent and not try to find different ways to make money. But if you have a solid fan to like artist community, then you can find yourself getting at least some support in terms of just wanting to keep going too.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That model is something that I heard of first from my parents who immigrated here, and that's kind of how they got set up. So I've never heard that used in like in a music label way. So that's crazy.
Yeah. So
have you heard of that before ever, in like
not so
that
much.
model? Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Like everyone in the family putting money together, and then one person goes and can get like know like textbooks, like something
Right.
It's just a
Very
way to
grassroots.
Yeah.
And okay. And so like I'm curious what challenges you face today. Question for both of you. Just as an artist, as a creative.
Just promotion, honestly. Like, there's only so many dollars out of your wallet that you can spend on like an Instagram promo.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you spend your limited resources?
How do I spend them?
Yeah. No, I meant that's the question that you grapple with.
Yeah, for sure. Like, but over time, like, I've found it ends up being more rewarding as an artist to just continue working on your craft and hope that makes waves eventually. Like, if there's something in common with my favorite artists, is like the music comes first, and if you just continue to network and build your audience that way,
right?
It's a slower way of doing things, but it works.
It's more of a long-term patient.
Promotion stuff is so it can get very exhausting, because as an independent artist, you're the person managing yourself. Like it's how you need enough energy to be on it a lot of the time, because there's algorithms for sure when you deal with social media, and that's the only way you know about anything is through social media. If you aren't on Instagram, which is unfortunately like one of the only things that we can do as musicians to promote our stuff, and then like try to branch out and say like, hey, oh cool, you follow on Instagram and you're keeping updated with this, but can you listen to my music on something else? That's like
link in bio.
Hit
that link tree.
That
link tree.
So it is hard to do promotion as an independent artist,
Right.
Because that is a separate job for sure.
Yeah.
You wear a lot of hats.
It can be exhausting.
Yeah.
And like having to do your own art, like that's part of the process,
yeah.
but it's also takes away from the music making process too.
Mm.
It's rewarding in its own way, though.
It's I mean,
Yeah.
like we all do it, and we all
Yeah.
understand each other's like, struggles.
Everyone's
and-
going through
and
similar
that.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so remind me how long both of you have been making music like seriously as your as your calling, as your profession.
Ooh, I would say about 3 years ago is when I like really started taking it seriously, and I was like
Yeah.
gonna start working on this craft.
Yeah.
What about you?
About 2 years, like since coming up here and like, and making beats and stuff.
Mm.
So I mean, like, I think that like that, yeah. So just starting out, and then like learning more along the way. Like I've been taking it more seriously in the past 2 years that I've been living here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And what would you say is your strength, or what do you like most about your own music? Gotcha.
Feels good, man. I don't know, just like
Yeah.
playing music loud that you made in your bedroom.
Mm.
That
Yeah.
feels great. That's always rewarding.
Yeah.
It feels really good. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
It's like when
most
it
of the
bangs
time
and-
you sit there and you make music and you just have like an expression. But as soon as you get your body to move, when you're just alone in
Yeah.
the dark, you're like, okay.
Yeah. I'm
Like,
having
this
so
is-
much fun
yeah.
by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you find that sweet spot, it's just therapeutic because you have your job.
Right.
You have
Right.
other obligations and responsibilities. But
Right.
the fact that something that's very rewarding and therapeutic for you to do, and then you're able to like see how you can take it seriously as a career is that's like the dream for every
Right.
every
That's the
musician.
Has online community like played any kind of pivotal role in any of this, your journey so far, like be it SoundCloud or Discord or Twitter, or you know what I mean? Anything like that?
100%.
Yeah. Really?
I think like the easiest way to give props to like people you respect is through like Instagram and SoundCloud. Like just commenting. If you think something's dope, just be like, dude, that was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
You build that relationship.
Right.
You don't see a lot of people face to face. Like I do you go out a lot? I don't really leave until I go and like do something, or
Is it mostly Instagram that
it's-
you guys interact? Is it also some mix of Twitter, SoundCloud?
I mean, it's mostly Instagram.
Yeah.
Mostly Instagram. I've been trying to do like, I mean, Facebook is good for like your friends, so that you know that your friends are there. But,
Sure.
like Twitter, I've been kind of like using a little bit, but I'm more active on Instagram for sure.
Got it.
Yeah.
And speaking of some of these platforms, like, do you have any? I don't know. So both of you are, for those of, the people out there who are listening right now who aren't as familiar with your guys' music. There's, safe to say, a ton of sampling. I know definitely in your case.
Yeah. I'd say I use less samples. Like, yeah, I'd say 80% of my music doesn't have like straight chops of like sample. But then if I'm like, getting too closed in my workflow, like locked in a box, I'll be like, dude, let's sample some like Animal Collective or like random stuff on Spotify.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the way you get your start though, because like initially when I wanted to learn a DAW, I wanted to record like songs that I was playing. But then when I get in, it was just like very frustrating, the learning curve. And the most satisfying thing was to just make a good beat with like a sample. If you already like really are nostalgic, or you you listen to something that inspires you, you can actually incorporate that in your process. And like that's it's really hard to navigate. Cause like,
What do you mean?
in terms of just like making music with samples, it just feels so satisfying. Like it's for like people who are making music and they don't know like theory, and you don't play instruments and stuff. It's just very creative because you're just making like a very like big nice collage of something, pieces that you really enjoy. But
Can bring like very organic sound,
Yeah,
like straight
yeah.
off the bat.
yeah.
If you're sampling, it's great.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Definitely. I know like some from what I've heard on, I mean, in your live sets as well as what you have up on the platforms, there's like, you know, it sounds like there's like some older soul samples, older soulful songs from like maybe the 70s and 80s in there. And then also like more 90s era R&B. I heard that earlier downstairs. It was really good. Does that ever, like, do you ever run into any issues with that? Like, in any shape or form?
As an independent artist, I feel like the lack of like commercial like knowledge has been easier to put out stuff that I feel like I want to share in like flips and remixes and stuff. I think just having like,
what do you mean?
not having it like be like the most like, I'm not getting like a lot of plays to the point where I would get in trouble
on someone's radar.
So I
like
think
someone drops like 10 grand on a way or something.
And that's like kind of uncomfortable to talk about, but it's
getting plays.
Yeah, but you have to, you rely on that too, so.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, it's difficult, right? Because, I mean, obviously a lot of this music is, either you fit it in the umbrella of hip hop or at least majorly inspired in the tradition, right? It flows down directly from it. So, and sampling is, you can't really distinguish or remove that from beat making.
From the culture.
Right.
It's like, it's a history. You want to keep, because that's how I found out about a lot of like my favorite music from, soul music is through the use of sampling in hip hop. Like that's
from James Brown, right?
So when you listen to the deep cuts, or when you find out there's deep cuts to things, it just kind of makes you more enveloped in the music and the process, and you fall in love with it like even more. So
and that's sort of what ties together, right? The past, the present, and and okay. Well, I wanted to see if maybe we could explore sampling a little bit, but so it sounds like at least at this level it's been pretty okay. Like you've been able to sample things and put it out, and it's been, you haven't really run into any issues. It's interesting because like sometimes you speak to certain artists and like, they're just not able to post certain mixes, or certain things get taken down and certain things don't, and then some people are banned because they've like they did it 3 times and then they got their, they've lost their accounts.
Something that changes people's process and like kind of pushes the genre of when like
what
the similar type of what you're listening to too. Like a lot of people are afraid of that territory, so they try to be very creative in what they do.
That.
So that, and another way is actually a lot of the music that I also really, really like is that very creative way of being like, oh my gosh, I can't even like, this is your song. It's not, I don't know what this is.
And it's so blurry, right?
It's
like
very
where
blurry,
do you draw that line?
But it's what fuels like a lot of the creativity, for sure. And the music, it's I don't know.
Cool.
I warp my samples like pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So no one's ever gonna find them. Like,
okay.
Got some Tame Impala in there. I think there's
but
like
isn't
a
it fun
sample.
when like you kind of like at the same time you kind of want people to know what it is, like you really do. You want to have like because that's the fun, and is listening to
having
like,
that idea.
Yeah, it's like on another level you're connecting with the artist.
Right.
Like you're connecting with like, okay, I see where you're at. Like I know where you're coming from.
Right. And what you're
about. So I really like that.
Yeah. For sure. You can't. Yeah. It's like we can't lose sampling.
No, you can't, because you want people to be like, what you want to push that culture forward.
Right.
You want people to know.
Pay tribute.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely. Okay. So to switch gears a little bit, kind of reflecting on, I guess, your journeys so far. Is there any advice that you would give to 2 years ago, Jillesque and Rhyne, of like, it could be on the music business side of things, or even just or more on the creative side, do you have any advice you'd give to a younger version of yourself?
For me, just like keep putting in the hours, trust the process, and like just focus on the craft. Like that's priority and everything else comes after. Because I think as a beginner, you get like, you have like these dreams, right? Like where you're like, oh man, I want to be just like Flylo, or like I want to be just like whoever. Like I want to play these stages, and that can be distracting, I think. So.
Gotcha.
What about you?
I feel like I would just tell myself to keep going, and like maybe I would have told myself to learn more about like a DAW earlier on too, and then just like the idea of even promoting like on Instagram, like just because 2 or 3 years ago it was just like your personal account, like you're just living life, and that's
friends.
you're just updating people on what you're doing, and then
and it's all people from
I would tell myself to have a separate account for stuff, because now it's like my personal life, I don't share a lot of my personal life, and it's just mostly like here's where I'm, it's shows, and and they're amazing. It's just, but then you look back and you're like, okay, like I need to have my own life on online and not have it like mixed together. But I feel like that's just a part of it, and I would tell myself something like that.
So like start a separate Instagram for your
separate
music,
for the music,
learn
and then
a
not
DAW.
have it all,
I can't post
not all
anything personal
together.
anymore.
Well, I do. I don't care, but it's just like I don't want to have to like share with my family and friends all the time, like yo, like come
Check out my sick new beat.
Yeah, but that's
Gotcha.
Do your parents listen to your beats?
No, my mom, when I was living with her, she would listen to me play a lot. She wouldn't say anything, but she was just like, you gotta stop listening to that same loop all the time. It's gonna like, it's gonna do something to you. You just, just come down to eat, and like, I just get caught up, and she was there
She's all worried about you.
Yeah, she's like, come eat. Like,
You're like, I'm lost in the music,
yeah.
Mom.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
But,
Beats. Low-end theory. Ever heard of it? Like, come on, Mom.
Mom, you don't even know, Mom.
Yeah.
All right. Well, to sort of bring it home and wrap it, any sort of words to Beat Cinema on their 10th anniversary, and I guess maybe even broader, like the beat scene.
Keep it going. Just keep the art flowing. Yeah, they've done a great thing, like over 10 years, and carrying the torch from Low End Theory ending. I feel like they've done an amazing job, and they keep putting on amazing artists that no one knows about, and that's important.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I totally agree with you. I wouldn't know a lot of the people that I really, really support today if it weren't for people pushing for independent artists and seeing potential in us, in our path, and like helping give the guidance to that. And I think that's like Beat Cinema has done an excellent job in providing that for a lot of us. Like it's crazy, because it really is like the nucleus to a lot of our community.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah.
All right. Last question. This is your opportunity to plug, shout out anyone, anything.
All right.
What's coming up for all of you? Like both of you, like any releases, any projects, any shows? This will probably be out in like, I don't know, 2 to 4 weeks, by the way. So
2 to
like,
4 weeks. I got an EP coming out at some point this year.
Okay.
Maybe it'll be out by the time this podcast is out, so check it out.
Sweet.
You can find me on Instagram.
Do you have a name for it?
Yeah, I do.
Is it ready to be
It's
announced?
Paint EP.
Paint.
Huh?
Paint, yeah.
Paint. Okay.
And
Sick.
yeah, check me out on Instagram. It's Rhyne Music, RHYNE Music.
Yeah. I got a release coming out early September. It's gonna be called Overthinker, and it's just like mostly beats and some vocal stuff that I'm trying to work in. But that's gonna be coming out through Condina Records. But I'm on Instagram. I go by Jillesque, of course, but it's I really just wanna push for putting something out in September through Condina Records, and there'll be a release show too. We haven't disclosed like where that would be yet, but we have residencies at the Chewing Foil Gallery every month, we run shows out of there, and we have a lot of people from other collectives like Green and Gold.
Right.
We have Row 2. Like they're doing Tender Zone shows. They basically, and it's so cool. We can have time to talk about this.
No, talk about it.
Tender Zones is just this fat like series of shows over the course of 10 weeks of everybody that's like prominent in all of our family within the beat community. It's a stacked lineup, and every week there's shows. You know, you have people off Condina, you have people off of Road 2, you have bigger names too. You have like all of that, and it's just bringing that community back together. And they throw those shows in Santa Ana and all throughout San Diego, Santa Ana, and in LA.
Wow.
But they're throwing another show soon, and it's gonna be insane.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
it's tight.
Sweet.
Tender Zones like Road 2, Green and Gold.
Bringing everyone together.
Yeah, everyone's together.
That's
Sounds
cool.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I feel like we all met through Beat Cinema too. It's like it's
Wow.
just big collective of people.
Sweet. Well, from Audius, and I'm sure from everyone in beat cinema and the beat scene, thank you for dropping your dope ass sets today, and just for being, from what I've learned today, just you're faithful to the music, you're faithful to the craft, faithful to the community, and sounds like you two are, both, kind of other people's words, not mine, like next up, and so carrying that torch. So salute to both of you for that, and
Thank you, man.
I think we all want to see you guys like just keep reaching new levels and keep doing it. So thanks for coming on. Thanks for playing.
Thanks for having
Thank
us,
you.
man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.